slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness.
Ora, boa tarde. Estão-me a ouvir? Hello? Everyone is listening to me? Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Rui Madeira. I'm the commanding officer of the Portuguese Navy Divers. And I'm bringing you the exercise REPMUS for the past 15 years. It says 12 in the presentation, but it's actually 15 years. Okay, the exercise of this year has a particular that joined the NATO exercise, Dynamic Move, and I'll get to this in a few minutes to you. This is my agenda, very formal presentation with agenda and all, but I'll try to keep it light. So the REP, not the REPMUS, but the REP, Rapid Environmental Picture exercise started in 2010 with adventure for the Portuguese divers. The mine warfare detachment received two vehicles, autonomous vehicles, for mine warfare. And also we started a protocol with the University of Oporto to develop our own Portuguese autonomous light AUV. And this was a really small exercise with a ship that we almost couldn't get to help us with the exercise, with a few 20 people working on this ship and testing these two autonomous vehicles. The Gavia that we bought from Teledyne and the Lauf that we developed with the University of Oporto. And, sorry, louder? Maybe like this? Better? Okay. So when 15 years have passed and now we have a big exercise with 3,000 participants that test not only the unmanned underwater systems, but also aerial, big data, a lot of experimentation working in two places, in Sesimbra and Troia. And we have 4 co-organizers that one of them was with us in the beginning, the University of Oporto, but then in 2014 the NATO joined us, and from there the growth of the exercise, the exercise grew exponentially to the exercise that we had this year with, as I told you, more than 3,000 participants. And of course, with these 4 co-organizers, a lot of other agencies, and this year more than 20, we had 24 participant nations and 13 observers. This exercise is not easy to prepare, and we have these phases of planning, assembling, and the execution phase that occurs in September every year. The whole month of September we are in Troia and in Sesimbra working with these systems from the academia and from the industry and also from the military. The area of operations is, as I told you, between Sesimbra and Troia. in the Infante do Henrique Free Technological Zone. This free technological zone was settled in 2021 to be an area where systems with low development can be tested freely and safely, not only underwater but also aerial assets. The two main areas of operation, as I told you, Sesimbra and Troia. In Sesimbra, we work mainly in mine warfare and in mine countermeasures, and in Troia, all the other assets, aerial, terrestrial, and also data handling, all the systems that you can imagine. This is Troia. Our former facilities just to support the Navy, and that is now the center of experimentation of the Navy that can, during all year, not only during the REPMUS, during all year can receive industry, other militaries and academia to test their systems during the whole year. We even have these containers that work as virtual ships. So you can work there as if you were on your own ship or on your own unit, having a link directly with the command and control center. And these are the characteristics. I will pass this because it's a little bit more technical, but even though we have established in 2020, not 21, as I told you, but we have all the facilities. Even we can have a place for people to sleep there. Sesimbra is the area where we work the mine warfare area. With systems being tested in that area that between 2021 and 2024 it was settled in the lighthouse area. But because it grows so much, this year we have our center of operations passed to the parking lot in Sesimbra, and we passed from a 250 square meter operational center to a 500 square meter operational center, and we have the use of all the pier for deploying all the assets that work on the exercise. And all the assets, we had approximately 100 unmanned systems working in these areas that are in the south of Sesimbra. We deployed several, 46 more or less, dummy mines, so not real, and we had the systems trying to detect all the mines and delivering all the data possible to the command center. This year we had a particular of having also a lot of aerial systems working in mine warfare, which is having drones detecting things underwater with sensors like LIDAR and other magnetometers, which is a development that we are experiencing. So not only underwater systems detecting mines, but also aerial systems. What do we have here? We have to look back. Why are we doing this exercise with these unmanned systems? And I will speak about the mine warfare, because we actually have to understand why we are working with such an amount of unmanned systems now, and why is this so important. Back in the old days, where we had the mine warfare in the 60s, and after the Second World War, we had mine hunters and mine sweepers, which we call the legacy systems. The systems that had all the detection and classification and the identification, and then the destruction of all the mines that were underwater. This was one ship that had all the killing process of the mine in itself. So a commanding officer of a fleet of mine hunters would send a mine hunter to one area and tell them, okay, clean that area and tell me in 3 days what you did. And the ship went there, and in 3-4 days he did that area, and after that he said, okay, I cleaned the area and it's 96% of certain that the area is clean. However, now what we have is a lot of systems that instead of giving us, of having all that process in itself, that was moderately accurate, now we have systems that give us image like this here, with all this accuracy, and can detect a lot of information from the bottom, but they don't have all the killing process of the mine in itself. Ones can detect, others can classify, others can destroy the mine, but you don't have systems that have all the process in itself. So, besides that, we have teams that are very experienced with officers and petty officers, and they are military, very organized. And then we have industry working with us, or academia, or teams that only have 2 elements that are very short. And we cannot manage all this different information. And that's what we are doing, trying to manage all this information, and plus all the data that these systems can collect, which, as you can see, is very, very accurate, but it produces terabytes of data. So what we had for this exercise, for the REPMUS 25, was this. We were testing autonomous systems for underwater detection, testing their interoperability in a serialized program to test all these systems, integrate all the data, and then validate the systems. And in the last week, we had the winners to do a last week of actual operation, as it was, if it was a real life operation. And this was to validate publications that we had to make this the use of these systems as simple, or at least as integrated as we had the ships in those good old days, as I told you. And we had 38 teams working with us, more than 200 participants, 100 autonomous systems, 30 of which were flying assets, and we deployed 46 mines for them to detect them. And after that serialized period, that took approximately 2.5 weeks, we selected 15 participants to do the final task. And the final task was 4 days, working directly at these areas that we see here, and they had a very short time to deploy their systems, analyze their data, and then give us the information back to the operational center for us to advise the command if a frigate could or not pass this area. That was the scenario. A frigate could not pass this area of exercise if it was a real thing. And in those 4 days, those systems covered all this area that we see here and detected what we call MILCOs, which is mine-like contacts. They look like mines, but they have to be identified, and others that were not exactly like mines. So after this, all the information was treated with images that look like this, and then to a point where we could have them identified by a system, and then they could be neutralized. And also integrated the information from the aerial assets with LiDAR, or magnetometers, but mainly with LiDAR, that, as you can see here, the aerial assets detected these contacts here, that it's waves at the surface. But then, between the bottom and the waves at the surface, some things were detected, and these were what we call the mermaids. Those that you see in the movie Nemo, that are floating half in the column of the water. We, with those aerial assets, could detect also these mines. And in 4 days, we handled 6 terabytes of data to give what? To give this information here. So in the end of 4 days, what we had was that if the frigate passed here, it was going to die. The risk remaining for the mines that were detected there was 98%. And if we could only shift the path of the frigate a little bit south, the risk reduced to 20%. What is the future? Command and control of the systems, a lot of systems working together, but we still have to figure out what's the best way to use them. And we can have all the 4 steps of the detection and destruction of the mine. The detection, classification, identification, and then the destruction of the mine. But with these systems, this no longer applies, because some systems give us such a good image of the bottom that they do detection and classification, and maybe even identification, only all at once. So we have to figure out what is the best way to do it. And we have these 4 options. Either we join detection and classification, or we detect and reacquire, or we have autonomous collaboration between systems, or we have no need for visual ID because the sonar data and the other sensors give us such information that we can identify immediately. But what I can tell you is that, if this works, is that we have established a data fusion cell that integrates all the information, that works those terabytes. This is a station that is in the command post, integrates all these terabytes of information, and give us that result, operational result that we saw. That is most fundamental. We must increase the size of the staff at shore to handle all that information and give us the best operational result to help the command to give to take a decision. This is not advertisement to Evologics, but still, what we have as a most rapid, the fastest way to do MCM from this experience that we did this year is autonomous collaboration. Systems, different systems working together underwater and giving us the best information they have, even if it's different, even if it's a different system, but trying to transmit it in the same language so that can be treated in the data fusion cell and give us the best result possible. So different systems working together and give us the maximum information possible. And that's my presentation. I leave you with a small movie from the exercise.
Okay, just 30 seconds to thank Arlindo for inviting the Portuguese Navy and letting us share what we do underwater in this exercise. And thank you very much, Arlindo.